There was a huge return and title change on last night's Raw. The host of WrestleMania 39 has been revealed, and a Sami Zayn versus Roman Reigns rematch has been announced. More on that in this video. Hello everyone, Jack and Adam here with the morning wrestling news. Huge title change on last night's Raw, Adam.
That's right, it's the big ones. The women's tag team titles changing hands last night. Becky Lynch and Lita, your new tag team champions, after a little bit of interference.
Right, so this might be the even bigger story here than the title change. So first we had Damage Control, obviously putting the World Tag Team Championships on the line against Becky Lynch and Lita, who won after, well, I don't want to say after interference from, but she was evening the odds on the outside.
Bayley got involved first.
Bayley got involved and was stopped by Trish Stratus. Now, this is interesting because obviously last week, Trish was reported to have been backstage and then to have not been part of the show. It was reported by several outlets. I remember Fightful Select saying that it wasn't, like, stressing, it wasn't a creative dispute. It wasn't like she'd stormed out of the building or anything. It was just plans had changed and she left the building before the point when she was meant to interfere. Whereas this time, it's maybe they've just pushed it back a week, it seems, or something like that.
Yeah, perhaps.
Seems like plans have just changed at the last moment, but the Trish is still very much involved. I'm surprised. I thought maybe this would be the sort of thing that would happen at WrestleMania, but where's this leading now? Is there going to be a 6-woman tag?
I don't know. I think, to me, that's probably the more enjoyable match. But according to various reports, it's looking like Shayna and Ronda are going to be challenging for the women's tag team titles, which would be a shame to cast Damage Control aside just to do something because it's got Ronda Rousey involved. But I reckon we'll probably end up getting Lita and Becky Lynch with Trish Stratus in their corner versus Ronda and Shayna. With nobody in their corner.
I guess that would be cool. Jessamine Duke in their corner.
Fantastic.
Marina Shafir.
Money.
I think that they've sort of been building a story between Ronda and Shayna over on SmackDown where people keep saying, like, Shayna, you're just a rubbish Ronda Rousey. And Shayna's been going, no, I'm not. And then Ronda comes along and wins. But they're still friends. They're still on the same page. I thought that was building towards maybe like a face turn for Shayna against Ronda, but instead, I think you're right. It seems to be like it's going to be a sort of a tag team kind of thing.
I'd much prefer that. Damage Control versus Becky and the Legends.
Yeah.
And then Ronda versus Shayna. I think that's a lot more fun.
Maybe they've got that in mind down the line after the team, then they'll split, I suppose, something like that. I don't know. Another match that's now been made official for that's now been made official for WrestleMania is Brock Lesnar versus Omos. On last week's Raw, we were all like, is this a red herring? Is this really going to happen? Because MVP made the challenge, said, Brock, I want you to, Omos wants you at WrestleMania. Brock said yes, and that seemed, well, he made an in-person pitch to Lesnar on this week's Raw and eventually did sell him on Wrestling Omos. There was a bit of almost like an Austin and Vince-esque segment where Brock was like...
It was that good.
It was that good. Drink some of my drink. And then MVP ended up spitting it over Brock, and then Brock was angry, and it all ended as you'd imagine. But what do you think of the match itself that's going to come out of this, Omos versus Brock Lesnar?
My hope, obviously, that'll be a stinker, right? So my hope is that it's building to some sort of angle, and the only thing that I can think of is the Hurt Business probably reuniting, all beating down Brock Lesnar, and we get a WrestleMania moment out of it because nobody wants to see a WrestleMania match out of it.
Yeah. I mean, presumably the big thing we're waiting for here is the F5 on Omos, but I don't even know if he physically can do that. He's so tall. Would he clip the ropes as he does it?
Yeah, I didn't think about that.
Oh, what a feat it would be. Would that be a WrestleMania moment?
That's the thing. Maybe they're going to do an F5 off somewhere where he's got loads of room off a stage or something like that, and just do some big spot out of it that they can show on replays for years to come. It's not going to be about the match, is it?
It might be an excellent match. It says here in the notes, apparently, that the last non-title WrestleMania match that Lesnar took part in was against Dean Ambrose at WrestleMania 32. I was there for that one.
Yeah, it was great.
Really excited. Really excited.
He had a chainsaw, didn't he?
Well, he held a chainsaw, yeah. They teased that you can't tease Chekhov's chainsaw like that and then not follow through. It was a match where everyone has since said, like, Brock wasn't particularly motivated to make it a good one and just suplexed Ambrose loads of time. Didn't really make I felt bad for Moxley or Ambrose at the time.
Yeah, for sure.
Hopefully this one's a little bit more, I think you're right, it's going to be based around a moment rather than work rate, isn't it?
Ring collapse or something like that?
Yeah,
it's sort of been done to death, but something like that.
Yeah, they can sort something out. The current card for WrestleMania, which has been confirmed, is Brock Lesnar versus Omos, of course. The Raw Women's Championship, Bianca Belair taking on Asuka. The SmackDown Women's Championship, Charlotte Flair taking on Rhea Ripley. And of course, Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes for all the gold. The host of WrestleMania was also revealed on last night's Raw.
I'm buzzing about this.
I am as well.
The Miz comes out and he's like, I got my big announcement here. The WrestleMania host is The Miz. The Miz is getting a lot of love over the last 48 hours or so because of that. Have you seen the clip that's been posted around everywhere about him talking about eating the fried chicken over somebody's bag, and then some bullies basically kicked him out of the locker room, and it's Benoit and Co and JBL and that. And everybody is now jumping on the Miz as like he's been there forever at this point, and he's gone from kicks out of the locker room to essentially one of the locker room leaders, and people are really, really hot on him, at least in sort of our internet wrestling community circle. And I think he'll be a brilliant WrestleMania host. Obviously, he's a great talker, and I just feel that because it's the Miz, he's going to end up with a cream pie to the face or something silly.
Be something, or a legend's going to come out and hit a finisher on him or something like that. But I think you're right, and the Miz, I think, for decades now, or a decade certainly, has been such a valuable commodity to WWE. He's a great, this is such a boring point, but he's a great PR guy. He's someone that can send to a talk show. So, like when he was the top champion, you know that they had no qualms about that. Like, he'll be fine in his sort of public-facing role.
Did you see his basketball thing? You like basketball?
I did see his basketball thing. Unfortunately, it didn't beat the shot clock, but yeah, he did.
What does that mean?
Well, he didn't let go of it before the buzzer sounded. It's got to be out of your hands. But yeah, he's rubbish.
That's amazing.
Yeah, he's really good.
He's so good, and he just gives it his all. He's never sort of let up. You see other people who have been there for that long, naming no names, Randy Orton, but sometimes they dip and they
to turn it round.
No, you're totally right. He's great at the moment. Well, he's not there at the moment, but before he went.
Towards the end, before the injury.
RJ Bro stuff is brilliant, but sometimes you can tell when people are getting bored. I just think Miz has given it his all the time.
He does.
Good boy.
Fair play, especially someone who started off this whole stigma of he was a reality star first and his heart's not in it, but his heart is so in it. Definitely. And also a rematch has been announced between Roman Reigns and Sami Zayn, possibly the hottest rematch WWE could possibly book right now.
Absolutely. I can't wait to watch it. How can I see it, Jack?
It's going to be at a live event in the Coca-Cola Coliseum,
Triple C,
in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. The venue announced that Roman Reigns will defend the undisputed WWE Universal Championship against Sami Zayn at a house show on March 4th. That's this Saturday.
Yep.
Yes.
So one of Roman Reigns' rare house show appearances. He doesn't do many. He's been announced for this one for a while, getting a rematch. There's a tiny little part of me, when sometimes... No, whoa, wait, just a sec. I'm not saying the title's going to change hands. There's a tiny little part of me that just wants a little bit of storyline advancement or something to happen there, because I love it when they do something like a title change or something at a house show is the most common thing, and then they play it on Raw or SmackDown and you get that grimy, horrible looking footage. I just think it's really nice when they do that. I'm not saying the title is going to change hands, but if we could get something interesting happen here, because Roman's not on TV every week as well, I think you've got to make the most of every opportunity that you got with Reigns. Do something.
Yeah, and I don't think the title will change hands either, but I agree fully with what you're saying. And I remember as well, just with Triple H being the head of creative now, I'm sure he did this with the NXT title once. I think Samoa Joe won at a house show, and I remember at the time that was really positively received because everyone went, it feels real, it feels old school.
And how really cool for not just people that go to that specific house show, have gone to that specific house show, but it's a really good advertisement for house shows moving forward. It's like something could happen. Yeah. It's probably not going to, but something could happen.
I think you're right, and that this won't lead to a title change, but I would enjoy some sort of added element, even if it's to end up, even if it's something to do with what Sami ends up doing at WrestleMania rather than what Roman ends up doing, but something would be cool, especially since, as we mentioned, it is a very rare house show appearance for Roman Reigns. And that's the last news.
Yeah, I was just looking into that. We'll be back.
Right, excellent stuff. Yeah, we will be back on this very channel with more wrestling news. Stay tuned and leave your thoughts and opinions in the comments section down below. I've been Jack, this has been Adam, and we'll see you very soon.